me, Pharaoh.
Hello and welcome along to another episode of Robin and Jane in the Stalls. What have we been up to this week? Well, we've been to the Grand Opera House to spend an evening with some fascinating pharaohs. We've discovered the power of the pyramids. We've seen lots of death and decay as well. And we've learned a kind of no-holds-barred history of Egypt. We're talking about horrible histories, and there was lots of excited kids in the Grand Opera House last night to see the awful Egyptians which have arrived in Belfast. But were we just as excited as those kids and their families in the audience? Well, you, Jane, you missed most of the first half.
Yes, I did. I'm very sorry. I missed a lot of the awfulness, actually. That was because they had changed the time. There's a moral to this tale. Always read very carefully the ticket so you know when you're actually turning up.
Exactly. So things that you did miss in the first half, I mean, obviously it's all aimed at kids and trying to teach them a history lesson about Egypt as well. But there are some clever jokes and some clever bits in there that the adults will love as well. For example, a pharaoh who resembles Donald Trump, who has a campaign going on to make Egypt great again. You missed that bit.
I missed that bit.
I'm gonna make Egypt great again.
A bit I didn't miss, which I think didn't come off, was when there were some jokes about Liz Truss and Boris Johnson. They were more for the English market. I didn't think that worked so well over here, that Boris had helped somebody out and helped them achieve what they wanted in the plot, and we didn't buy into that at all.
No, that fell flat. And then, of course, other people who popped up during the show as well. And again, you missed Alan Carr and Amanda Holden. They were playing those two parts as well. And then even Billy Connolly popped up at one point, didn't he?
Yes, he certainly did. Billy Connolly was impressive, actually, vocally. I'll tell you what I liked about this, and what I like about all great children's literature, is that it's subversive. It goes against the grain, and you can tell from the title, Horrible Histories. It's not something that your teacher would have dreamed up, essentially. And you could say it's warts and all. You could even say it's farts and all, because there are an awful lot of raspberries blown, actually, including one very impressive one at the end of the song we all sang, which I did manage to make at the end of the first half, which was a bit like panto, really.
What kid doesn't love a bit of toilet humour or a good fart joke?
No, I agree. I agree entirely. But what it also does is it educates quite a bit, and it does it very cleverly. It goes under the bar or under the pyramid or whatever you care to say. We learnt quite a lot about Tutankhamun's tomb, discovered by Howard Carter and Lord Carnarvon. We also discovered, or we might have discovered, about the famous curse of the mummy's tomb, of Tutankhamun's tomb, if it had existed, but we didn't learn about it because it didn't. so there we are. And apparently they died from natural causes. It's all explicable by science. The other thing is, as you said earlier on, there is a lot of death and decay in it. And I think it's probably quite good for children to be exposed to the idea of death early on, especially when it's accompanied by a resounding giggle, and some of the deaths definitely were. Everybody booed and groaned when they learned the idea that some of the pharaohs actually had their servants killed and buried alongside them so they could all travel in the coach trip to the afterlife together, you know.
But there are some rather gory parts as well, like when they're preparing the mummy's body and he opens up the mummy and he's got his hand inside and he's pulling out the liver and the heart and the intestines and everything like that. And then there's a rather horrible bit as well when they pull somebody's brain out through their nose as well.
Oh, right. Okay. No, I missed that bit, which I'm quite glad to hear, actually. Children don't mind gruesome stuff. They live with it. They're rude to each other. They like giggling, and they like anything that they think grown-ups wouldn't approve of. And that comes back to my theory about the subversive nature of successful children's literature. It is subversive, and it does go against the grain.
The other bit as well that impressed me very much was the second half of the show, which is all in 3D. So when we eventually got the 3D glasses, they are very good, and it is a very good second half. And you've got everything coming at you on the screen. You've got snakes attacking you. You've got bricks from coming flying towards you as well. It's quite unnerving in some parts, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. You've got a very scary, enormous scarab beetle, which made me flinch in my seat in the stalls. Yes, the 3D worked very well. And I quite like the idea of a sort of game show with a guy approaching the afterlife and having to go through various tests. I thought that worked. That worked well, and he was good. Megan Parry was good as the woman, actually, too. She livened things up, I thought, as the female characters. Um, but I also just generally liked the way it dealt with the afterlife and death. I mean, this wasn't the Christian version, definitely not. It was the awful Egyptian version, but we loved it.
And again, there's only 3 actors on stage as well, keeping us entertained for the whole time, playing a big variety of characters.
A myriad roles, yes, absolutely. Rob Cummings, I think it is, he has the height for Ramesses. He was very impressive, and he has the voice for Billy Connolly and various others. As I say, Megan Parry was good. I should have the third name down here, but he was good too, actually, the third actor. And they take on a load of roles. It has to be said, it's not as accomplished as the television version, which is very slick and maybe even funnier. But it does pretty well, and I think the audience were definitely satisfied.
Pull the brains out through the nostrils.
Time now for us to make up our final decisions. And today we're going to use the Pharaoh from the show as well. So we're going to have little pharaohs appearing on the screen. So I'll start, and because it was a fabulous history lesson, there was no holds back. We really did discover how awful these Egyptians really were. So I'm going to give it 3 little pharaohs.
And I'm going to give it 3 little pharaohs as well. So we're in agreement today.
There we go, in agreement. And of course, the Horrible Histories, Awful Egyptians runs at the Grand Opera House until Saturday. There's 2 shows left. There's one on Saturday morning at 11 a.m. and then one at 6:30 in the evening. As always, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you back in the stalls sometime very soon.
Bye.